The CGA Tour, a podcast unlike any other. Now your host, Glen Alexander.
Hey Cowboy fans, today's episode is brought to you by Oakley Burklow, your go-to independent insurance agent and proud OSU alum. They help with home, auto, life, and business insurance. Working with multiple top-rated insurance companies to find you the right coverage at the right price. Licensed in Oklahoma and Arkansas. Call 918-280-9068 or email oakley.burklow@connectmyinsurance.com. Personal service, honest advice, and a fellow poke helping you protect what matters. Hello and welcome back to the latest episode of the CGA Tour podcast. As always, here I'm your host, Glen Alexander. And on today's podcast, I am joined by Trey Florence here as the Sunday co-host. We're recording this, I just want to be clear, on Sunday, January 11th. There's so many portal updates going on. I feel like every time we stop and we hit the end record button, 6 new things happen. Then I try to edit the audio to sound a little bit better, and then you hear it the next day. So hopefully we're not too far behind of whenever you're listening to this. But Trey, how's it going?
Just wow. This week has been, it feels like crazy with just how much news we've gotten because of the portal. And of course, basketball this week. 2 relatively games, different games.
2 very different games. 1 Big 12 win.
Yep.
Love to see it. Another Big 12 loss to the 3rd ranked team in the country who, I mean, Ken Palm has them as 3rd, NCAA, AP Roy Dean has them as 3rd. They're a really good team. We covered the spread, so I want to get into it a little bit here. I think it's a good loss. I'm just going to say. I think it's a good loss overall.
For sure.
But first, I want to talk about the hoops part of it. So we covered the spread. This Iowa State team is good. Like no one's being caught off guard by saying that. And we were able to stay in the game for most of it. What were your immediate reactions watching yesterday?
I love the first half. That was for sure until about halfway through it. And then basically that's whenever all the chaos happens. So basically the first half was great. We were up, 24-16 or something like that, 24-19. And so it was great that we were ahead on the road. We had a really good start. But then obviously halftime happened and it did not go so well for us.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were up 22-16 at the end after the first 10 minutes. We had a 7-point lead at one point in the game. The biggest lead of the game for us was 7. Of course, the largest lead for them was the end of the game. So it's nice to see that they didn't have a larger lead that we came back from. They kept playing on. And listen, we're 13-3. We're 1-2 in conference. We've gone on the road and we played at Iowa State so far. And then, you know what? Yeah, we've played UCF. Well, we played UCF, who's 12-2. Yeah. And, we've played some good teams. We played some bad teams. We played one decent team. I mean, UCF was coming off of a Kansas win. That's what they're really hyped about. If we had beaten Iowa State, don't get me wrong, if there would have been an emergency podcast special, we would have jumped on immediately and been all over it. But this is not that bad of a loss, considering the fact that, hey, you know what? It could have been a lot worse. Victorious Miller did not play, in case you missed the game, and he had played previously. Now we did get Christian Coleman back after being sick, back from the flu. But Jalen Curry, man, I mean, it's tough because he scores 4 points, he plays 31 minutes. That's just the worst ratio we've got going, right? So. Well, what were the good parts about the loss that you took away, though? What were the good things you're taking away?
I did like how we jumped off very well, even whenever, for example, Coleman, he was in foul trouble at the very beginning. So we still did very well without Coleman. And, we still don't have the team that is fully healthy, per se, just because everybody, I feel like, gets hurt or injures their ankle or sick or whatever the case may be. So we didn't have our true team, I feel like, but Fallah, man, Fallah's doing great. He's definitely the biggest surprise, at least this game. For me, he just was doing very well, doing great, just all around, being great at getting rebounds, getting great at defense, and it just was nice to see him step up. there's always like, at least so far, what I feel like every single game, there's somebody that's stepped up on the game, even though we lose. So it's been either Coleman, Fallah, or, you know, somebody else that has always kind of stepped up during these games, which is nice to see. I just wish that we were just all were healthy. That's what I feel like is what we're missing. And once we get like everybody being consistent, like a consistent rotation, I feel like that would help us out a lot more, especially in the Big 12 play, because every game matters. If you win a game on the road, that's huge. I feel like, at least for the teams that aren't in the top 25. Like, for example, I think Arizona, Iowa State are probably going to win most of their games on the road, but it's going to be chaos, you know? So it was a good showing. I was a little bit hesitant before this week, before, you know, the UCF game and Iowa State game, because we didn't really play anybody and we got blown out by Texas Tech. So it was nice that we kind of showed up this time around.
Yeah, the things for me is that Iowa State is a 40% three-point shooting team this season so far, including yesterday's game. And we held them to 31% from three. We held them to 31.2, and they were 5 of 16 from three. Those are the really good things here. And on the day, they were 52% shooting the ball. Overall, we were 50% shooting the ball, and we were 36% from three. Anthony Roy came back down to earth a little bit in the three-point shot, I would say. He went 5 of 12. And then to your point, Parsa Fallah, he's just playing really, really well, of course. He consistently gets the Ken Palm MVP of the game. He had 2 steals. We're talking about a 6'10" guy who's getting 2 steals in a game. Way to go. He doesn't really get in foul trouble. He has, 3 fouls overall. He has 11 rebounds, 10 defensively, 1 offensively, which with Ben Ahmed was our only other offensive board in the game, which wild, but I guess true. And really, to me, this is a rebound battle. We lost the rebound battle, 26 to 36 total for Iowa State. And that's kind of the game here. It's like if Ben Ahmed could play a little bit more, or Vukovic could play a little bit more, I think we'd be right there with some of these teams that have a couple of guys that are 6'11", getting, a couple minutes. And of course, their 6'10" guy, Blake Buchanan. Like, he's incredible. Thing for me is that Iowa State is very even scoring all throughout. Like, they have a lot of guys that can just get in buckets. We got Josh
right,
and 19 points. Milan Momasilovic at 18 points. And they just have guys. They had 5 guys in double digit figures. To us, we had 3 guys in double digit figures, with Connie Clary having 11 points. It's just that we're not that great offensively, and I do think Coleman coming back from flu and getting some foul trouble early really did lead to the loss at the end of the day. Like, he played 11 minutes. And Christian Coleman's one of my favorite players to see out there. But it's just a lot of inconsistency, to be honest, that worries me going down the stretch here. But you're right. I think if we can get all these guys healthy, then we could do a lot better, of course. I mean, that's as easy as said as done. But yeah, we lost a lot of these like battles here, and like field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, we were up, but by 5%. We made 8 of 22. They made 5 of 16. We made 3 more, but they just didn't shoot that many in comparison. So that's one where maybe I was talking a little bit too much about how we need to shoot the ball more from 3. But what do you think about Connie Clary and Jalen Curry and kind of Christian Coleman's inconsistencies here?
Yeah, it's hurting. It's definitely hurting our teams. The one thing I will say is one thing I do want to point out, it was nice to actually see us be good on defense for once, on the 3, because that's usually been our Achilles heel. It was against OU, Texas Tech, a little bit against UCF. Wow. But at least it was nice that we actually showed up on that one. But yes, the inconsistency really does hurt. And I know that hurts like the team dynamics and everything like that. So it's hard. Like, I get it. Somebody hurts their ankle, it's got re-hurt, or, follows back, or, sick. I get it. It happens. There should be other people that would step up on the team. This team right now, I don't feel like we have that much depth per se. And that's the part that kind of worries me, especially like going later on in the season and trying to get into like a tournament. because that's what you kind of need. Is you need some depth. Yes, you have your stars, which are going to be putting up the most points, but if you have like a consistent person coming off the bench that can get you 10 points or something like that with a solid like 5 to 10 minute range, that's wonderful. That's what makes you go to the next level. I just feel like we don't have that right now, and that's what's hurting us.
Yeah, we have 3 losses, all to Power 4 teams. Granted, one to OU in a neutral site game where I think the fans were honestly more Oklahoma State fans from going to the game. And then we have the loss at, of course, at Tech and at Iowa State. 2 top 25 teams in the country, and we knocked off a top 25 team this week. I'm not saying this is a bad team whatsoever. I'm just kind of trying to control my enthusiasm for the team. Let's see how we do against Baylor. Baylor, home, Tuesday night.
With an NBA player now.
With an NBA player. Yeah, just wild. The guy who got drafted 31st overall is now playing for Baylor. Just a couple years ago, a fully grown man. But, I mean, all these guys are. I'm saying that to be sarcastic. So, I just say, listen, if Victorious Miller plays, then I think that's an extra 5 points for our team overall. And when you're talking about a 5 to 7 point game, is what it would be then, it's anyone's game. Like, it's anyone's game. And if it's anyone's game against the third team in the country, I'm really happy about it. So let's get all the guys healthy together down the stretch here. Once the 2nd February hits and we play the rest of the conference games, especially February 4th against BYU and the top 3 overall draft pick projected, and Ayo Debonsa. Let's get out there. Let's make that a rowdy one. When students are on campus this week here,
right,
back in session, let's see how it goes against Baylor and against K-State. 2 home games. And then Trey, you know what? I'm going to be there for that Iowa State game. Pretty sure.
Oh,
so
very nice. Because that's what we need. We need to win those home games, especially in this conference. Like, you have to win the home games. You can't let those up, and you got to try to steal one. But our conference, it's really hard to steal some of these games. Like, yeah, you could probably steal one against like Colorado, Cincinnati, maybe. But man, our schedule's rough, if you ask me. Because obviously we do play Iowa State twice this year. And somehow we didn't manage to go to BYU, but still at Arizona. Like, if we could steal a game at Arizona, I'm not saying that's happening, but if we could, that'd be great.
Yeah, looking at it, that is the game we were projected to win the least of any game this season. Even the last game of the year, Saturday, March 7th against Houston, that's a home game. That's a 28% projection we could win. BYU on February 4th is 27%, and Arizona is 4%. So, and Iowa State at home is 16%. But I mean, that game you're circling there, let's uncircle it a little bit, Trey. Let's just reel it back. Let's reel it back a little bit. We're not that good. I do want to give a big shout out here though to offensive sets. I mean, we are running through plays. We are getting Anthony Roy open on the corner. We're getting the deal to me though is it was 48-42 in the second half, and we're somehow seemingly hanging around, right? We never really let him get much more than an 8-point lead at any point, and then Kyan Clary misses a 3 from the corner. It happens. We shot 36% on the day. We shot better 3% point percentage than they did. Clary shot 1 3. It's when he missed, and they go coast to coast for an enormous slam dunk and put themselves up 50-42. That was the game to me. But our offensive stats are getting guys open. This is a team to get to Stillwater, see a couple games this season. Ken Baum says we've got the 39th largest arena in the country in D1, and we have the 17th best home court advantage. So for these games where you're like, hey, you know what? I mean, it's late. Which of these weekday games are I going to make? Like, let's try to get out Cowboy fans to some of these games that are weekday games right now, because this is the year to be, hey, fully back in on Lutz the next year get season tickets. Like, I wish I already had season tickets, but maybe next year, right? So we'll see how it is. Somebody living in Oklahoma City and like yourself, a little hard to get to Stillwater some days, but I do work in Stillwater, so there's a couple days where I just need to stay up there and just get home super late. But great game overall. I'm glad we stayed in it. I'm glad it was a 12-point. I saw the spread at 18.5 Thursday night, and I was like, we're going to lose 18.5 points, but then we lost to Tech by 22. So I could have seen it happening, but we covered the spread real well. I'm going to take it as a kind of a nice loss. That doesn't really exist, but I'll say a nice loss. So, all right, I want to talk a little bit now about the Curt Cignetti correlation with Eric Morris. I'm going to hit you with the trivia question a little bit later, of course, to end out the podcast. But Trey, do you want to take a guess here? How many North Texas players have committed to Oklahoma State so far? This is as of January 11th via the portal tracker Marshall Scott has put together on pistolsfiringblog.com. Linked here in the description. But Trey, you want to take a guess how many North Texas players are currently committed to Oklahoma State? Out of 42 players.
Isn't it like 20, 21, 22? No, am I a little high?
A little high. It's 17.
12. Yeah. I was like, I knew roughly. And then we're also getting people from like LSU, Texas Tech. I think I saw somebody from Kansas State, if I remember correctly. But I'm totally shocked of like how well our portal's been. I know most of it's from North Texas, obviously, but even then, we're still getting some other people, like other wide receivers that are not from North Texas. So I'm at least confident to say, as long as we can, like, everybody can mesh on the field, I can say we can at least win one conference game next year.
I do too, honestly. I think one would be the bare minimum, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because we should be beating the teams of the year, you would think. Now, the portal tracker here, have it up for 2025. But let's see here, 2026. Let's just click around. Oh, wait. Is that Oklahoma State here now? Second, since
Penn State number one.
Well, I've got Texas actually as number one right now. So I'll show
when did that switch?
Probably a couple minutes ago, honestly, at this point. This is an ever-changing deal. It's very fun to watch. Great to look at. Super exciting. But, like, I just, I don't know. I'm a little hesitant, if I want to say, on it.
Right.
It's just one of those things where, like, yeah, I'm not really sure why we're ranked where we are, except for the fact that why did Texas just jump us with 13 commits? Now, of course, I think they got a 5-star here recently, and I click into it. But right now we have 43 commits, so it's up one from the latest update I had. And I mean, we've got a lot of guys. Like, we have a lot of great players coming in. We've got, what latest here I think is a kicker, and then an edge guy and a D-line guy from top two from SMU, who we know are paying their guys a lot of money. And then, of course, we've got the guys we've already talked about: Drew Messmaker, Caleb Hawkins, Wyatt Young. Now, Wendell Gregory, he's in the portal, so he's on the list here, but he is more than likely not coming to Oklahoma State. But Justin Bowick, a receiver, Wake Forest receiver as well. It just is, this is a bright spot. And I want to talk about how that the Curt Cignetti resemblance for Eric Morris is not necessarily like really there, but it's going back and forth with a couple of different people on social media this week about how that we stole their team. We stole North Texas. I'm 99.99% sure these guys do not feel as though they were stolen when they're choosing to make a business decision as adults in the NIL. Now, does the system suck?
Yes.
We can get into that all day. We can get into that all day. But the hatred against Oklahoma State for popping up here resembles a lot to me of the hatred for Texas Tech last year, except for the Oklahoma State guy. There's not like one dude you look at of a billionaire who just sold his company. Gosh, his name slips off the top of my head every single time. The Texas Tech donor who's been all over TV advertising, basically redo a ruling for NCAA status for players, their families. But Cody Campbell, excuse me. That's his name. I think, listen, we can draw some similarities here. JMU and Curt Cignetti brought 13 guys over. Now, granted, that season after they brought him over was not this season for Indiana.
Right.
It took him literally 2 years. I think it's fascinating how many similarities there are, though. How many similarities there are. Was Eric Morris ever at Alabama? No. Was he ever head coach at Indiana University of Pennsylvania? No. But he was head coach at Incarnate Word. He was the offensive coordinator up at Washington State. This guy has coached just quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. I mean, he had a cup of coffee with Baker Mayfield, Mahomes, Cam Ward, Drew Messmaker, of course. Just the list even goes deeper than that. There's definitely guys I'm forgetting here. So what are your thoughts on somebody saying, hey, Oklahoma State stole the North Texas team.
I mean, I can see why they could say that, but the guys there, I feel like for the North Texas are following their coach. Not so much they're being stolen, they're following their coach because that coach gave them an opportunity. Because, for example, the quarterback, walk-on. A lot of these guys, walk-ons were very lowly recruited, and they're just following their coach that actually believes in them. They like their system. That's what I'm assuming. And so that's why I believe that's why they love coming to here. So it's not so much a steal.
Deal that Oklahoma State did not steal anybody. We're not doing anything different than anyone else's. And I'm real touchy about the subject because it seems as though whenever something bad can happen to Oklahoma State, it does. Like I'm always a little paranoid. The Jeffrey Carroll $300 to $500 or whatever that he talked about on a podcast that I had him on just this summer. Like, it's just all the little stuff where you're like, man, come on. You know, he wanted to be directed to an agent afterwards. Now these guys have agents in college for their NIL stuff. Like, what are we doing? So I know there's the OU football stories about how a guy was grabbing a couple of scoops of mac and cheese, and there's when Kelvin Sampson was with OU. He was texting guys all the time, but I'd laugh at those back in the when I was younger and those happened. Those have not happened recently for the TOU deals. So I know it's not just Oklahoma State, is my point. But I also know Oklahoma State fans have every right to be worried about some 4 deep long SI story coming out that later on gets the guy fired, and we've got every right to be just a little bit kind of going, hey, stop using the word stolen, okay? These guys are making a business decision. They are men. They are doing things through the NIL portal. This is all above board. If it wasn't, please let me know what information you have right here, right now, so we can try to meet it head on initially and not be dealing with this Mike Boynton's going to lose a team for a year, basically, because we can't make the NCAA tournament, even though no one on the team is still impacted by that decision.
Yeah, everybody left. It was just they affected the school, which that's the part that sucked the most.
Yeah, hey, we're going to penalize the school who had these guys, but not the coach. But we can't penalize the coach. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that guy could be banned, but I think Lamont Evans went to jail for 6 months. But can he be banned from ever coaching again? I wouldn't, because that seems like a really extreme penalty for what happened too. So it seems, no matter what, seemed too extreme. I've just always got my ears up here a little bit. So we've got 17 overall North Texas guys on the team. Besides the top 3 guys in Drew Messmaker, Caleb Hawkins, and Wyatt Young, who's your favorite recent addition we've had from the North Texas team? Do you have one? If not, I've got one.
I think it was not lineman, but there's somebody on defense that I was really impressed that we got. I forgot his name.
If you're talking about the same guy that I was thinking of, is Ethan Weslowski?
Yes.
I mean, he's a beast. He totaled 233 tackles, 21.5 for loss, and 7 sacks in 3 seasons at UNT. The man has played a lot of football. That is the one thing I'll get into a little bit deeper once the portal wraps up here. Hope to have Marshall Scott back on the podcast and a couple other of the guys. The shocker for me from the most recent time we talked to Gavin Freeman entering the portal, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm excited to see some defensive recruits come through. Some guys that look real good.
That, and then we also got the LSU, Kansas State, I think. So it's just it's really nice that we're also seeing defense finally. And then one other thing that I was super kind of funny about was how does SMU feel? They got the death penalty because, the portal, I know we were talking about worried about stuff. They literally got the death penalty and now the portal's a thing.
Yeah, SMU's got to be just so incredibly annoyed by it. The other guy I wanted to touch on, though, is Miles Coleman. Curt Cignetti and Colby talked about him for a little bit here, but I just kind of want to say a little bit more. He was high school teammates with Messmaker, and he entered his junior season, so he's got another year after this one if he wants to come back. And he entered it with 928 career receiving yards, so just under 1,000, of course. But, he had 46 catches, 536 yards. He had a couple of games where he had 7 catches for more than 100 yards, including the game against Tulane that they lost, unfortunately. But we're not just getting one that's good. We've getting several guys from UNT. Are we taking the whole team? Yeah, you can say taking, for sure. but we're buying the whole team. I'd say buying. That would be my word of the day, my verb that I would use over the word stolen, just to be clear. Because I do think it's kind of a funny deal. But were there any other guys here from the portal that stood out to you? Just no matter what, just any Power 4 guys, any UNT guys, anything like that you're thinking of?
And let me go look at the list real fast because I feel like I always forget every single time. Obviously, we got the whole wide receiver core that we have right now. I think we're going to be dangerous for sure. And we also have the whole running back core from North Texas, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm as well too. And 247 is giving these ratings here, so when I say them, just know that's where I'm getting the information from, and I'm referencing them. We have the James Madison halfback, who's an 85 rating. Just to give a reference, Rodney Fields was an 86 rating by 247. So make that of what you will, but I'm trying to give a rating aspect here and not just total snap count or height and weight, to try to give a little bit more information here. And Caleb Hawkins, he's a sophomore, Drew Messmaker, redshirt sophomore coming in. Those are two of the highest graded guys, but we've got a 5'9" back from Charlton State who's coming in too. So our running back room will be loaded up. These are just transfers I'm talking about. I'm not talking about any other guys outside of here, recruits coming in. And then the other guys I'd say here is that we've got a KU offensive lineman who's 6'4", 300. Coastal Carolina offensive lineman, 6'5", 300. Michigan State offensive lineman who's 6'8", 280. I mean, tall as can be, slimmer than the other guys, which is always interesting to see. We've got two UNT guys who are both above 6 feet, both close to 300 pounders. We've got an OU, of course, we talked about him, 6'6", 330 pounds, already on the podcast, Jacob Sexton. So I can just keep listing guys off here, and I'm going to get away from that now. But
come on.
We've got Donovan Green, a previous 4-star LSU tight end, who's in the portal, was getting offered from other Power 4 schools as well. This seems to me as though a little bit different of a transfer portal cycle than last year. How would you say it differs in your mind?
One, I feel like we're actually getting real recruits. Because last year, I couldn't tell you oh yeah, I'm just hyped about this because we weren't on the list. I know Gundy was trying and everything like that, so I know that is the case, and I know that we're technically stealing a whole team, or not stealing, we're buying a whole team from North Texas. Because we bought their coach and everything like that, and all their other coaches. So it's going to be really nice to see the complete. It's really crazy. The portal is allowing us to have this complete turnaround within a season. This is not a normal thing. Before the portal, Oklahoma State with a new head coach would probably take us 2-3 years before we were actually relevant or actually winning, having a winning season. This within one season, you can go from 1-11 to maybe 8-8, if not more. It's kind of crazy, and I right now I'm benefiting it because it's OSU. But what happened to Washington? They went and won the national championship, and then they kind of disappeared. So it's just I know everybody. It's just so crazy, and I definitely think there needs to be more boundaries on it. Right now, I'm not too mad about it because we're benefiting from it. But I definitely feel like there needs to be a boundary of some sort, which I'm sure they're looking into, especially with the craziness that happened with the quarterback with the Washington, where he commits, signs it, then decides he wants to go back in the portal, but now is going back. So now that's going to cause all the, turmoil whenever they actually have spring camp and everything like that. So I'm glad, but I'm also concerned because next year, say someone buys out Morris, say Alabama says, all right, you did so great at OSU, come over here, and buys out Morris. I know that may not happen, but hypothetical. And then the whole entire team is bought and then they're gone. So it's just it could happen to you instantly, which is the kind of scary part, which doesn't make me love college football as much, because now it's just they're trying to, I get it, the players are trying to get the best deal that they're possibly going to get, and I get it, totally get it, but also it's going to hurt college football, because that's what college football was it was a special moment. Those teams took years to build. especially like for OSU. It took us like 4 years, and then we made it to the BCS bowl game. No one would have thought that, back in 2000, So it's just like, I feel like it's going to hurt us and hurt college football in the long run. But as of right now, I'm loving it because we're about to bounce back. I'm not saying we're going to make it to the playoffs or anything, but we're at least going to be a competitor, which is nice to see finally.
110%. And I want to give some comparisons here to put it in better context. Last year in the portal, we ranked 35th by 247. This year, right now, before the portal closes, it closes January 16th, we are second. With now, in comparison, we are at 53-ish points on 247. Last year, we ended with 35-ish points. The teams that led overall, LSU was 70.98, and Texas Tech was 69 points. Nice. So Miami is also here third. They're 64 points. Ole Miss, 63 points. Oregon, 60 points. What do all those teams have in common, Trey? They made the college football playoff. And in fact, most of them here, 3 of those teams won a game. Granted, Oregon beat Tech, but they got clobbered by Indiana, and Indiana is trying to look here. They're not in the they're 25th. So yeah, they got 3 4-stars they brought in. Curt Cignetti maybe just a total one-off on that. Maybe we're a lot like him and we'll end up being closer to the ranked 20 or so. I just don't think that's possible because we got a way better quarterback. I mean, if you had told me last year Fernando Mendoza would be in the Heisman Trophy discussion, I would have asked, quote, who? Because I just didn't know the guy last year. I mean, he is one of the greatest stories in college football, but he was not a household name last year. That kind of what's making it a great story, I got to say. So I'm really excited about this. Last year, we had 41 commits in the transfer portal. This year, as of this recording, we've got 43 apparently, although 42 in some places. So, let's get excited. Let's be excited about Oklahoma State football. Like next year, you're right. We should definitely win at least one game. It shouldn't just be
maybe a Heisman hopeful. Like that's just like mind blowing. We haven't had one of those in a couple of years. I mean, maybe Mason may have entered the conversation, but he was never this close. I feel like this is like the first time that we actually have like a Heisman watch from the beginning of the season, which is crazy to me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine a year that I can't even think of a year recently that I've thought, maybe we're going to have a Heisman Trophy guy. I mean, what the last year possible was Ollie Gordon in 23?
Maybe.
Right? We thought that year was going to be the year for Ollie.
But then everybody like disintegrated around him. But yeah, I think it was either Ollie or if we even have to go further back, I feel like it was like Brandon Whedon and Blackman type of thing. Like that's how far back I feel like. I think there may be another one in between there. I don't know.
There might have been a Mason kind of year.
Maybe Mason.
The year after we go to the Sugar Bowl, and
right,
and then Mason and Justice come back, and James Washington, of course, as well too. That was kind of the year where a Mason should be in the mix, but then that CMU loss just to follow that up. Like, oh gosh, reliving those memories. Next year, as far as like working ahead to the football schedule here, we've got some tough games, but like we have Texas Tech at home, we have UCF at home, we have to go to West Virginia to end out the season, but we've got an at K-State with Colin Kleiman, who knows how they're going to be as a team. We've got to go at Arizona State to start out Big 12 play. And of course, we got Oregon at home to start out for the second game of the season and our first home game. But like this is looking up and down here. This will definitely test year. Us. Oh, yeah. For sure. This is an easier year we've got schedule wise, not out of conference, but at Tulsa. I want to say, are we going, Trey? Saturday, September 5th? Let's circle it on both of our calendars. We'll be live in Tulsa's campus. Probably just doing a
just to make sure that we don't
game.
Just to make sure we don't fire another head coach.
We could probably have a whole section to ourselves and in their 30,000 seat stadium just doing the game. Or maybe we'll be followed by a bunch of other Oklahoma State fans who will be there because it basically is a home game. And I cannot imagine what it'll look like next year. I'm so excited for that first game of season. It's non-conference and it's at Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's definitely some want to win in that one from Oklahoma State fans, including myself and you. So, all right, well, Trey, let's get here to the trivia question.
Ooh.
All right. So I have three different ways of following it up here because the last trivia question I asked was to Josh Morallo on the last podcast, and he indicated he was 1 year old. 1 year old in 2005. So I'm gonna ask you a question that's from a little bit closer to now. So Trey, here is the trivia question. We have a total of 42 guys currently committed as of doing the spreadsheet. That transfers. What do we have more from the Power Four or more from North Texas?
I think what we said 20, we said 17 coming from North Texas. So in theory, you said Power Four. Ooh.
Yeah. So all the transfers we have across all college football is 42.
All right.
17 from North Texas. Do we have more or less from the Power Four than 17?
I'm going to go with we don't have more than Power Four.
You're wrong. We got 18
really
from Power Four overall.
Just by one.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, because we got a bunch of SMU and I was like, that's not going to count towards it. So I was like,
Well, here's the follow-up. Second trivia question. Of the Power Four conferences, which conference do we have the most transfers in from?
I'm thinking it's... Because there's that one. Sorry, I'm doing math real fast in my head trying to see.
Or do you want to rank them? Do you want to rank them? SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12?
I think it's...
Try to give me the order?
I think it's SEC, Big 12, Big 10, ACC? No.
Which is that? Is that from least to most? Because if so, that's correct.
Oh, really? Good.
If it's from least to most, I think you're doing most to least by your narrow speaking. But just to recap here, we have 6 transfers in from the ACC. A lot of those from SMU, just down the road, of course. But 6 from the ACC, 2 from the SEC, 5 from the Big 12, and 4 from the Big 10. It will never be normal for me to be put in UCLA as a Big 10 team. Yeah. And also Washington, too. What are we doing here?
And then I forgot that SMU went to the ACC, so it's just like, they're not even close to the coast.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, the Atlantic Coast Conference has, anyways, but they also have Stanford and Cal. So they should be just the Coast Conference at this point, drop the A. But, say SMU's close to the Gulf Coast, right?
Oh,
but those are the 2 trivia questions I have here. That's the latest recording. Trey, any other thoughts here as we kind of wrap this one up?
I am very excited to see what we've been doing in the portal. It makes me happy because, we're at least multiple times we've been consecutively on reports that I've seen that we've been 2 on the portal. I'm sure we'll still have some more come in as, the championship game comes around and everything like that. Cause I'm sure more Oregon and, Miami and, Ole Miss, everybody's probably, I think Indiana's going to be pretty solid.
You don't think there's guys transferring out of Indiana?
Not out, probably into, yes. Just because of how well that came out of nowhere. No one expected Indiana. So I feel like my hope is we're going to be the Indiana next year. Nobody have great expectations for us. It's the worst in the program history type of thing. And they turn around and come back. That'd be great. So right now, very hopeful in the portal in football. Basketball, I think we're going in the right trajectory as long as we get healthy and be consistent. That's our big issue there. I like to see the defense that we were doing on the 3 ball finally. And yeah, I feel like next week is going to be another good week. We should at least win those games and it should be pretty solid. And then kind of continuing on in the Big 12 play.
Yeah, I mean, this week will be a very interesting deal for how we do basically against what I was saying. We've got just I'm totally blanking here and I've got to look it up. Forgive me. I do want to say I just want to say this to make sure. I am not forgetting about the women's basketball game that tipped off right as we started recording.
Woo!
Or Oklahoma State versus OU and Bedlam wrestling duel tonight at 5. Because it's we are going to finish recording and I'm going to edit this probably during that duel. So I didn't forget about it at all. Just in case anyone's curious here. I did my best to not. But I just say if you can get to Stillwater, Galgariba is one of the brightest arenas in the entire country. When it's going, it is
especially for
going.
wrestling. Wrestling is amazing. I love the games that I've seen or matches I've seen during wrestling. I think it was, what was it, Iowa State one year? The game that we worked? I forgot. One of the games.
We worked an Iowa match, an Iowa duel. That was just insane. Coming in.
So insane.
I'm excited about it. And then if you can, get out to Stillwater this week, Tuesday, playing Baylor at home, of course, and then Saturday, January 17th, against K-State. Also a projected W. Both should be good matchups. If you can get out to Stillwater, hopefully I'll see you there. But Trey, thanks so much here as always for joining on the latest episode of the CGA Tour podcast. If you're not already, follow out the CGA Tour on Twitter, Instagram, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Send some questions for the next one, and we'll catch you guys again soon. Peace.
Hey, Cowboy fans. Today's episode is brought to you by Oakley Burklow, your go-to independent insurance agent and proud OSU alum. They help with home, auto, life, and business insurance, working with multiple top-rated insurance companies to find you the right coverage at the right price. Licensed in Oklahoma and Arkansas. Call 918-280-9068 or email oakley.burklow@connectmyinsurance.com. Personal service, honest advice, and a fellow hope helping you protect what matters. Yeah.